Aloha, everybody, and Mele Kalikimaka once again. I am putting on the cool weather gear here. I just got a new scarf in the mail and a Christmas hat as well, my Tiny Tim attire. As it was 38 degrees again in the last couple of nights, and very chilly out, but also a lot of fun. Hey, we've been doing these little Christmas connection videos and devotionals over the last week or so. And it's just a time to connect us in different ways to the Christmas story again. The season goes by so quickly, and I've kind of determined to slow it down a little bit, partly by staying away from malls and other things that are really busy. And today I was enjoying just a little devotional time a few minutes ago with that great verse in Matthew's second chapter. It's actually verse 2. So you can remember Matthew 2:2. And it has that one stunning announcement verse where the Magi are traveling from the east and they arrive into town with this question statement. Do you remember it? It's right here. I read it in the New American Standard Bible. But the question is this: where is he who is born King of the Jews? We have seen his star in the east, and I love this part. We have come to worship him. That statement, that question, was so profound that it infuriated Herod in his insecurity, and it troubled all of Jerusalem. And when they pursued and asking, as you know, the story goes on, Herod brings the Pharisees together and says, who are they talking about? What other king dares to be in my region? And of course, the tragedy of his insecurity and evil heart, as he has every male baby from 2 years old and under destroyed, killed in that tragic part of the Christmas story. But back up a little bit. As you make a Christmas connection with me, did you hear the power of that statement? They're questioning. After traveling afar, as we sing, they are questioning, where is he who is born King of the Jews? God had his special revelation and the star involved, and they had traveled a great distance. But that's the question. Where is he who is born King of the Jews? They even speak of Jesus' authority as a young baby and as a question in their mind. We have come from the east to worship him. My takeaway in that little verse is that there are still people that are seeking Jesus. They don't know it necessarily, and they don't understand it maybe theologically, but there is this vacuum in the hearts of mankind and all the insanity of our world that is crying out for something, and many times they don't know it centers around the Christmas story. Where is he who is born King of the Jews? We have come from the east to see the Savior of the world, and we want to worship him. It's fun to connect people to worship. It's fun to see people transformed by the Christmas story for me, and to watch them as a result worship Jesus as they invite him to be their Savior when they understand the whole story. But there's a lot of hurting people out there looking, and sadly, they don't even know how to ask. I was driving 2 nights ago, and I was making a right turn from the right turn lane where the curb is. 2 other lanes were full of cars next to me. And there was a homeless woman not sitting on the curb, but actually sitting in the gutter, and her legs were extended out into the street. So much so that I couldn't make my turn. And I couldn't turn around her because the other cars were blocking the way. So I rolled down my window and I gently spoke to her and I said, hey, he said, I'm going to need you to get out of the street and back up. I'm afraid someone's going to run over your legs. And she was out of sorts and looked at me through the window and backed up. She moved. And I said, thank you. I'm just so concerned that, you don't get hurt. And she just was kind of in a daze zone. And it wasn't a pretty sight. I won't go into the details, but so I pulled around the corner. I had to be somewhere in a few minutes, and I saw this need here at Christmas time. I see this need. I mean, the safety is one need, But then as I was evaluating a few minutes later and finished my appointment, I had half a sandwich left over from my lunch in the car, actually. And so I went looking for her. And yeah, the area wasn't the greatest, but down by the railroad tracks around the corner, it was starting to get dark. And I just said, man, I can follow that up by giving her a little bite to eat. And then it was turning dark, and kind of hear that voice of the Lord saying, "You're not in a good place, Mark." And I never found her. That's the end of it. I may see her another time, but I was struck with this. Here I'm studying the Christmas story. Here we're reaching out as a church, ministering through some wonderful organizations that feed children warm meals and that reach out to the Dominion Republic, as Mike Silva's just done this past couple of weeks, and bring medical supplies, and we're working with the preborn and doing some wonderful work on giving life to babies. And yet there are so many needs during this Christmas time and throughout the year. Here's what I come back to. I helped a little that day, but here's what I come back to. Our focus is presenting to people Christ the Savior. And we sing it boldly right now, and we put it into action. And there are still people that might say it in a different way, might say it with pain in their heart. But they're saying what we just read from Matthew chapter 2. Where is this King of the Jews? I need to worship him. As we connect Christmas and the Christmas story to ourselves, I am praying that God would connect you to family and friends, and yes, cautiously, even strangers, to show them the Savior of the world. I'm continuing to look for those opportunities throughout the Christmas season. I hope you do as well. Hey, I'm looking forward to seeing you Sunday morning at 10 a.m. at the Coach House, as we will have our last Sunday of the year. We won't be meeting on Christmas Day or New Year's Day. There's some other services in our area that we've been telling you about. But we will also have our Christmas party that night in San Juan Capistrano, and would love to have you join us. But until then, a very Merry Christmas, and you yourselves watch for a Christmas connection this week. And perhaps you will be able to introduce someone to the Savior of the world. Have a great afternoon.